In this chapter, we're going to talk about fighting City Hall. So, a lot of times people will commit a mass shooting on the basis of attacking a system. They often choose victims because they represent the organization they believe is unfair. And part of this stems from the mega systems that we have to deal with today. So, let's start with the case of Jiverly Wong.
Our justice correspondent Bob Moore in Washington has been covering this story from the beginning. And Bob, this package contains some very disturbing material.
Katie, no doubt about it. The letter and the photos you mentioned are very troubling indeed. And they're more evidence that Jiverly Wong set out last Friday morning expecting to die in his mission of violence. Before killing 13 people at the American Civic Association in Binghamton, Jiverly Wong dropped his death manifesto in the mail. The package arrived today at News 10 Now, a cable television station in Syracuse. 3 photos of Wong with his guns, and a rambling handwritten letter in which Wong railed against police, accusing them of taunting and torturing him. He confessed in the letter, writing, "I am Jiverly Wong, shooting the people." And he tried to explain, "I cannot accept my poor life. But before I cut my poor life," he wrote, he intended to take at least 2 people with me. Wong, who wore body armor and carried 2 handguns in the spree, fully intended to die in the rampage. He apologized in the letter for poor language skills, writing, "I want to say sorry. I know a little English." But he offered no apology for the horror he had carefully planned. And the letter closes with a most chilling sign-off. "And you have a nice day." The letter and the photos now have been turned over to the FBI, and police will not comment until the behavioral experts at the FBI have a chance to review the whole package. But it's very clear that Wong copied the actions of Sung Hui Cho. He was the Virginia Tech gunman who mailed his own manifesto the same morning he killed 32 people 2 years ago.
So sometimes people lose a legal battle and they may go after the legal system. They see it as an unlevel playing field on which they were forced to compete and lose. Sometimes they go after private organizations, and some are so deliberate they go as far as leaving notes behind. These are often middle-aged men who see financial ruin ahead of them. And Mark Barton is one such mass shooter. He killed 12 people and injured 13 more in July of '99. He committed murders at his home and at 2 Atlanta day trading firms. And it was believed that he was motivated by a large financial loss during the previous 2 months. And before he could be apprehended, he killed himself. And I'm actually going to skip this video and ask you to play it in the slides because it plays very quietly. Ferry is another mass shooter. He entered an office building in San Francisco, making his way up to a law firm. And his reasons for targeting the firm are not well known. He had contact with this firm 12 years prior when they referred him to another firm. He opened fire, roaming around the 34th floor and then moving down another floor. He killed 8 people and injured 6 others. He left behind a letter that contained a list of complaints, but it was pretty unintelligible. He claimed he'd been poisoned by MSG and had been, quote, raped by Pettit and Martin and other firms. He also had complaints against the FDA, the legal profession, and other criminals, rapists, racketeers, and lobbyists. So increasingly, we're seeing people frustrated. It's very difficult to get in touch in bureaucracies with the necessary people. There's a lot of automated phone systems, and agents are often overburdened and poorly trained. So getting satisfaction often feels impossible. Companies also are not really able to screen their clientele, but upgrading and humanizing the way they deal with their customers could go a long way. And so there was also a shooting that involved a congressman, and it happened in Alexandria, Virginia. And so let's look a little bit at that before we finish up.
For more information on what exactly happened, we are joined by Fox News Chicago correspondent Mike Tobin. Hey, Mike.
Hey there, Tucker. Angry little man, pushy little bastard. That's the way one neighbor describes Hodgkinson to our producer on the ground in Belleville, Illinois. It was his way or no way. That's who he was, the neighbor went on to say. Now, Hodgkinson had his run-ins with police. In March of this year, a resident in St. Clair County, Illinois, called the sheriff because Hodgkinson was around his house firing a rifle.
He pointed the rifle towards the center of the timber back there and started shooting across the field. you know, and it was a high-powered rifle. And I thought, good grief, there's houses over there and everything. And I yelled at him. I said, hey, you know, stop shooting over there. There's houses over there and everything. And I didn't get any kind of a notion from him that he heard me or that he even cared.
Now, when the deputy arrived, Hodgkinson produced a valid firearm owner's ID, so the deputy just told him to stop. Now, there's an extensive report from 2006. Apparently, Hodgkinson's daughter went over to a neighbor's house and refused to come home. So over the course of 2 days, according to police records, Hodgkinson went to the house, broke a door, punched a woman in the face, fired a round from his shotgun, hit a guy with the stock from the gun, pulled his daughter to the floor by her hair, attempted to drag her from a car. There were also charges in separate instances, resisting arrest and drunk driving. Now, Hodgkinson also had his political side. He wrote letters to a local paper ranting about taxes that the rich needed to pay their fair share. His Facebook page is now taken down, but it was riddled with anti-Trump, anti-Republican comments. His page had a big picture of Bernie Sanders with the slogan, Democratic Socialism explained in 3 words, we the people. Senator Sanders reacted.
Let me be as clear as I can be. Violence of any kind is unacceptable in our society, and I condemn this action in the strongest possible terms.
The Illinois Policy Institute dug up Hodgkinson's voting record. He voted Democrat in 2008, 2012, and 2016. Tucker?
Mike Tobin, thanks for the background.